This podcast is brought to you by Primary Arms. Primary Arms seeks to provide the best shopping experience for everything firearms. With over 13,000 products from over 400 top brands, Primary Arms carries a complete selection of rifles, handguns, firearms parts, shooting gear, apparel, and more. Every order comes with a commitment to superior service, backed by fast shipping and an expert support team. Primary Arms, serving freedom since 2008. Find out more at frn.deals/PA. Hello and welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first rifle or if you've been building them for years. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined as always by my co-host, Garth Ofer.
Hey, buddy, we're here. It's a special edition Turkey Day.
It is. So happy Thanksgiving to all of our listeners. We are recording this live on Thanksgiving Day, so
Yeah, it's kind of a weird one, Didn't really do any turkey, which is okay with me. I'm a prime rib guy, so I've eaten prime rib the last 3 meals, and I'm in that space between food coma and just waking up and going to bed tonight. So,
well, those things will happen. So have you had anything else or done anything else neat this week since we talked last?
I haven't, but you got a buddy who actually just built his first AR, and he's been pretty excited about it. He said it took him about 3 hours to piece together. He said YouTube is helpful, but not 100% helpful. And he got it put together, and he took it out and fired it, and it will fire, but then it will not cycle. So we're thinking it's an oil issue because it just needs lubed up, I'm guessing, is the issue. But until the wind goes down today, we're going to go out tomorrow to the range at the farm and see if we can't figure something out with it. So,
yep, you know what? A new great resource for that I'm going to have to sit down and watch so I can talk about it more is Brownells. Brownells.com has a AR-15 Smith video series now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, since the powers that be at since YouTube is more or less a social media, decided to start taking down a lot of those videos. Now, Brownells has produced a set of how to build an AR videos that they have available on their website.
Well, that'd be pretty neat, helpful for guys like myself who you relied more on your expertise when coming to that situation. But I mean, yeah, YouTube was helpful, but if Brownells has one, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, let me try and pull that up here while we're talking. I know that they had released it not long ago, and it's quite the from just a little bit of it I perused. It was a pretty good topic to look at. But yeah, actually, if you just here, I'll click through and share the screen so that everyone can see what it is that we're talking about. And if you go through to the Brownells website, click on the Learn tab, it will come up with all of these things on how to install different things into your AR. And they are hosted by them on their website. So yeah, build an AR-15. And you click through and it has how to work everything, the tools you'll need, and even how to do some of the more in-depth stuff.
Well, that's fantastic. I will have to jump on there because in the future here, I'm thinking about doing a couple Cerakotes on some guns. And while I very easily could just take it to them and have them disassemble the gun and, do the Cerakote and then put it back together, I think it'd be kind of neat if I would take it apart myself and, save them a little bit of the headache of it. And so that'd be all right. That'd be kind of fun to do. I'll have to jump on there here now that we're slowed down and got time to do things like that. So,
yep, it is a great tool, and I've seen some of the other work they've done, and they very rarely put out any sort of a shoddy product, especially when it comes to their video side. So that is a incredibly helpful tool for people who are looking to learn a little bit more about how to do things like with an AR and kind of do that, fix it myself at home instructional type.
mm-hmm. For sure. So, what about yourself? You seen anything on the interwebs that you've had to send home, or
No, the most exciting thing I've done was I found a deal on some 320 magazines.
oh, did you know?
Yeah,
Look, well, I've been looking at 320 magazines. Not to change topic too much, but man, they're even on sale. They're still expensive.
yeah. They're no longer your $10 Glock mags.
No, they are not.
So no, yeah, that was the most exciting part of my last week is I found a deal on some genuine 320 mags.
Nice.
But no, other than that, yeah, I'm in Groundhog Day here, so it's just the same thing over and over.
Fair enough. I get that.
But moving on, we have kind of an interesting topic this week, and it's one that can go a long way, and it's going to be a lot more discussion than it will be just hard and fast fact based.
Yep, and it's you posed it to me the other day, and I went, man, that's interesting to actually think about, and just so I guess you want to just kick it off and
Yeah,
we'll
so
see
we're
where we go.
we're talking about the future of the AR, not like in a legal spectrum or anything like that, but more where the technology, where the ergonomics, where are the trends going to be going?
Hmm.
Like what is the future AR going to look like? I know right now the army is finishing up their testing or in the middle of testing their next generation weapon systems, and you know they're looking at a replacement for the venerable M4 and things of that nature. So that's where everything moving forward. Because even if you look back at where the AR was 20 years ago versus where it is now, is two incredibly different places.
No, you're right. Just on the form of modularity from then to now is insane, and so I didn't really think that AR had changed that much until you posed that right there. That if you look at the first standard AR and when they came out with the A2 buttstock and just the long handguard, the rounded handguard, and just wow, with the fixed front sight, and now to your standard, MPR Ruger, there is so much difference between the two. It's actually surprising.
Yeah, like the heart of the rifle is still the same,
It is.
but so much has changed. Because like if you grab the pre-war Colt that we have, and or not pre-war, pre-ban Colt that we have, and look at that versus a modern rifle, and again, that was a A2 style, but it had had a flat top, and you put tall scope rings on it, and then had the front sight post, and it's an A2 style, and that was what an AR was for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Then it became, then the new hotness was quad rails. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get that quad rail put on there. And Knight's Armament made the ones that the Army uses, and they whipped in and would use a delta ring instead
Hmm.
of doing a true free float. And then the civilian market moved everything much further to the point the military started adopting stuff off of it with the free floated handguards that have M-lock on them,
Yeah.
and you know the different mounting systems. And are we going to see like a Z-lock or something like that down the road instead of the key mod?
No, that's it. Like my first true AR was the SR-556 with the quad rail, and now everything's M-lock, and how everything is kind of obsolete. I mean, yeah, you can throw a whole bunch of Picatinny rails on there and dress it back up, but the M-lock alone, just how insane that was.
Yep, where it changed a mounting system changed a lot.
Oh, 100%. And just the versatility of that now, and pricing, and yeah, it's insane.
Yep, everything changes, and then the other part was if you go back and listen to our episode on the AR-9, like how many ARs are in different calibers other than just 223.
Yeah.
Like the 9mm AR has blown up and is everywhere. And
Yeah.
like
And now you got 245, or not 240, geez, 245, 243, and 6.5 Creedmoor in AR, and 308, and there's a couple other calibers out there, 17, 22. But I mean, oh, what were we talking about the other day? Oh, possibly getting a 357 down the road. Like that was a dream of ours more that you could actually make true, and how awesome would that be? So.
Like we said, the 350 Legend is pretty much a 357 Ultra Magnum, so that would be the way to go.
But then beyond that, you're looking at now you've got these skeletal cutout ARs, and now everyone's doing the Cerakoting and really customizing them and making their own. And so this rifle is the exact same, but now it's mine. I don't know. I don't remember the old Army Montreux. You know it, not me. You know the thing with the guy.
Yeah, this is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, now it really is yours because it might be the only guy that is looking at getting a blaze orange AR. So,
Those things happen.
yeah, why not?
But one of the things that I've looked at that's happened in the last, I'm going to say 10 years is, 10 years ago, there were a couple different variations of piston ARs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had your SR series from Ruger. You had a couple companies making piston kits that they would use for them. I guess SIG kind of had one in the SIG 5.56, like a version of their 550 that was a weird conglomeration of a lot of things.
Well, now that's MPX. That's
yep.
Piston.
But you can only do so much with a direct impingement style because of how the operating system works on an AR.
Mm-hmm.
And where we talked about, like, when is an AR no longer an AR? On that episode we had not so recently, but that we talked about where what you can do off of what is the firearm of an AR, and that's the lower. Moving forward, it's probably going to be a lot of piston uppers. So, like, if you want to look into that, two of the biggest ones that jump to mind are, again, the Brownells BRN 180. That attaches to any AR-15 lower, but it is a piston drive upper that has the entire mechanism built in, so it doesn't need a buffer tube. And that's in 223 and 5.56. Or, well, I'm sorry, and 300 blackout. So you don't have as much modularity for your calibers as you do with some of the other ones. But, like, looking back, so now that Bushmaster Firearms is back in business again, you will see. I've seen the return of the ACR, and that was, even further ago than that. That actually started as a Magpul Masada, and there's a term that hasn't been mentioned for a lot of years. But then that kind of developed into the Bushmaster ACR, and that was going to be the advanced combat rifle. And it was, the predecessor to the SCAR, and, things of that nature. And, it wasn't really the predecessor. They just kind of looked alike.
Similar, yeah.
Yep. And, it still comes down to that, like, basic heart of that receiver and running off that, where is piston drive going to be the next biggest thing?
Your guess is as good as mine, honestly. So I think it has its merits. It really does.
The biggest issue with a piston drive gun has always been weight.
Yeah.
And, as those things get heavier, people tend to not want to do that. And like as we're seeing these go forward, like again, the PSA Jackal isn't that much more in weight than a standard 16-inch gun,
Mm-hmm.
or the SIG MCX. That is another, it's not any heavier than a standard AR,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have the buffer tube on the back.
Well, and I guess going along those lines and stuff, I mean, how far can they go? Like, again, I guess it goes back to the original question we had a couple weeks ago. How far can they change it without it, not being an AR anymore? And so I don't know. Do you think the industry's advanced so far in the last 20 years that they've hit a wall, or do you think there's just some innovation out there that we just haven't even thought of yet?
Well, I think that's where there's really only two ways to move a semi-auto gun. It's I know that there's technically a couple more than this. Like when we were talking about the PCC stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you have like CMMG doing the radial delayed blowback on the pistol caliber stuff. Specifically 9, and that is amazing and really kind of changed up how that was. I know that JP has a new AR-9 that's a roller delayed, and that's breeding in some of that technology from like an MP5 into an AR upper, and the bolt and how those things run. So I think the advancements are out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of how they come out and pushing them forward. The last couple of years where our rights have been under assault, we don't really have companies doing a lot of R&D and testing crazy things.
Yep.
Because it's just, how many of these can we shove out the door? And when you have time where it's like, oh, hey, everything's good, that's where you start seeing new products being developed and tested. But where I actually think one of the, aside from being just, changing how the system works, going from a direct impingement to a piston operated, what I think the next major revolution would probably come from is ammunition.
Like those plastic rounds we were looking at. Not say rounds, but the casings.
Yep, like a polymer cased ammo or the hybrid cased. I mean, even again, the rifle that SIG is fielding
Mm-hmm.
for the Army and their new trials, that has a hybrid ammunition and or a hybrid case. So it's brass with a steel head, and you can go roll along and pick them up with a magnet, and like that would be amazing. But you have that, then you have some of the polymer case stuff. One of the things that would actually be really cool is like as 3D printing gets better and more used and faster, would actually be getting polymers that will hold up and do the work of these casings. Because if you had it where you could 3D print your case and change the internal geometry,
Yeah.
well, then with less powder, you could create more pressure and have a more efficient cartridge. Like you could quite literally build a case tailored to a rifle.
Man, that would be neat. I don't know. Well, I guess there's no way the gun companies can stop you, but man, that would change in a major way the ammo industry. And I don't know. I could see some people freaking out over that.
Well, it's one of those where they would like I'm not saying 3D printed at home. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm granted you could, like in theory, you know produce your own casing for ammunition or caseless ammunition, because that has always been the goal.
Mm.
For the last 50 years is to do a caseless ammunition. What is it? The HKG-11, the crazy space magic gun.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like 8 in the U.S. maybe less, or maybe there's 8 produced. I don't know, but They're a crazy looking. Do you know which rifle it is I'm talking about?
You might have to just pull it up for me and the listening audience, if you would, please.
So it was a crazy, like, it was one of those just, like goofy space magic rifles. And here I will share this with you. But it was a caseless ammunition.
Holy cats, that is ugly.
Yeah, this was like straight up 1970s and 80s. It had the magazine was on top, and it had a caseless ammunition. So broke down into its components, and then you shot, and it had like a 60 round internal magazine.
That was
And
hideous.
oh yeah, it was terrible, but it was a really neat concept because you don't have a mag or anything like that, and
Yeah.
like one of those things that people have been talking about is if you had a stabilized ammunition that could actually burn itself as the casing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you just have to have it ignited, and you have caseless ammunition, and you drop weight drastically.
Oh, yeah. I know what a loaded mag weighs offhand.
I could remember, but my brain doesn't work right now. So
Yeah, I can look it up. I'll do that. I will contribute that side.
But no, moving to something like that where you have that caseless ammunition would be the next biggest thing, and where that weight saving would go through and move all the way across for everything else, not just for militaries or end users or stuff like that. Because I mean, let's be realistic. In day-to-day civilian life, nobody's really carrying around 200 rounds of 5.56 ammo on their person.
No, I mean, at best, maybe what? 60 to 90 at best. You want an extra mag. I mean, it depends on what you're doing, but like in the Army, you guys are full kitted. Do you guys carry 7 to 8 mags when you guys are out and about, or
Well, a standard full combat load is 7 mags.
7 mags? Okay. Well, when I'm dicking around at the farm, I'm taking like 2 mags. So, and I'm always wishing I had more, but
Yeah, depending upon what we're doing, like like when I go shoot some of the matches for our marksmanship team, then I have to run with 8 mags, but that's for specific events.
all right. Just from looking on the forums, it sounds like a loaded AR mag is roughly around 16 ounces.
Yeah, so a little over a pound,
Yeah, pound.
maybe a little over.
Yeah.
So you drop 8 pounds. That's a whole rifle.
Yeah, it is. So, man, that'd be all right.
But that is one of those where that might be more of what the future may hold, more so than changing the operating system, if you will.
Mm-hmm. No, I get that. That's well, things out of my pay grade. That for sure. That's 100% true on that. So I'll just wait patiently until it happens.
Wait patiently until somebody goes, okay, now that's an okay thing to buy.
Yeah.
We've looked at that enough. But no, there's so many of those things, and where I see a lot of the industry moving though is we'll come back to where it's moved and where it's been is to that piston side of the house. Just because, as SIG makes their own variant, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
and FN made their own, like, hey, we're gonna redo the AR. Granted, the SCAR barely works as an AR.
I'm beginning to learn about that. I've been having difficulties with my SCAR, and I'm not. There's a variety of factors it could be, and I'm hoping it's the easiest fix, but until I get back to the range with it, I don't know. So you might have been right about the scar. I'll say it now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It was really cool. Okay, I had to have it, and now I have it. Now I'm just going, oh crap. But again, before I get all ready to sell it, I'll just take it to the range one more time, make a couple adjustments, and then we'll go from there.
Yep, that sounds like the proper thing to do.
Probably. Because after
And
40 rounds, I was ready just to go, all right, first guy offered me money, I'm taking it. But no, I'll be diplomatic about it. And
well, and like the Scar 16s have not had some of the issues that the Scar 17s did.
well, then maybe I'll just have to upgrade or downgrade. I don't know. Switch it out.
But you know, when you look at like the SIG MCX, it looks like an AR.
Mm.
Like, you know, kind of like your MPX,
Yep.
but it takes, you know, standard AR mags. And it's, oh yeah, that's a thing, and then you can shoot it with the stock folded to the side.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. Those are expensive alone, though, but they're cool.
Everything's expensive.
Everything is expensive.
You know, the same thing with the you know, there was a company 2 years ago that had came out with a new, like they called it a better AR, and they kind of died off for SHOT Show.
And who was that?
It was a company called Skelly.
No, I've not heard of them.
So, like, I was genuinely excited to look at or to get this rifle, like get my hands on this rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And like they made the cover of Recoil, you know, and they were the next big thing. And then they just kind of faded off into the distance. I'm looking at their website. I'm looking at their website now, and they say they're still under development. Like they're still trying to get this out. And I apparently wound up on a video game page. But here, I will pull up a picture and show you what they look like. And this again is one of those like crazy futuristic. So you can see here that it had a, I mean, it has a lot of things in common with some of the other rifles that are out there.
Yeah.
But just never went anywhere. They were on full display. I mean, they were out at a couple places, and like I remember seeing them, and I was super excited. And the next year, they were back at SHOT Show again, and they were in with OSS suppressors, and I was like, "All right, man, this is really going to be a good thing." And it's just been radio silence from them.
Yeah, that was could have been a cousin of a Scar there. I mean, they had very similar features, but it was an interesting design. I would have shot it.
Well, it's kind of like the old Bushmaster ACR.
Hold on.
Which I know you were a Call of Duty guy, so you definitely have seen the Bushmaster ACR.
It's been a minute. It's been a hot minute since I played that, but okay, yeah.
And that was one where after Bushmaster kind of came out with that, they ran into all of the problems that were inherent by being purchased by Freedom Group. And if they're a company that can ruin a pump action shotgun, you can only imagine what they will do to a semi-automatic rifle.
Thanks for that. I almost had Sprite all over my laptop.
Weren't planning on that one, huh?
Wasn't planning on that one.
Yes, Freedom Group, the company that could ruin an 870. And by the end, they did. And I know that somewhere out there, someone will furiously be typing us a letter on how the 870 was never ruined, and they must not have picked up one of their last runs because they were. But no, it languished in design. As they came out and they were a super quick, capability to change barrels, and it was, you could pop a barrel on and off super fast. And since you could change the barrels out that quick, that meant that you could change calibers.
Mm-hmm.
So, the system on it, I don't remember exactly how the barrel change system worked, because it's one of those. I saw pictures of it working 8 years ago,
Yeah.
and am trying to remember how it changed off of that. But they're going to have short or okay, yep, there I found what it is again. It was you'd pop this ratcheting system on and off, and they were going to have short barrels, long barrels, normal barrels, and you could get it in 5.56, 300 blackout. And I do know that now, from watching social medias, you can get one in 450 Bushmaster again.
Oh, jeez.
So, the probably the best thing that could have happened for that, as far as innovation goes, is the company that bought Bushmaster on the breakup sale, because they were brought by Franklin Arsenal,
Okay.
the binary trigger guys. Yes.
Yep.
And they caught some flack several years ago for a rifle, or Franklin Armory, not Arsenal. I don't know why I always want to say Arsenal, but they several years ago, again at SHOT Show, had a giant media thing going where they had made a SBR that wasn't an SBR. And as I forget what they call it, the Reformation or something like that. It was, they had this big push on the campaign, and it was, so delicately put by Ryan Kleckner, as when he was looking at it, talking about how legally they could do something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And they got deep into the weeds on the NFA stuff, and they went, well, it has to have rifling, which is used to impart spin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it had rifling, but it wasn't used to impart spin. It was just straight lines.
Oh, really?
So when the bullet came out, it looked like a churro. So he called it, he was explaining it, and the only way he could get it, to have listeners understand, was he was like, yeah, it just come through with lines on it like a churro. So it would be a churro gun. And that was what everyone called it, and they got kind of pissed. I mean,
well,
understandably so, because you generally don't want your new latest and greatest, production to be, lovingly known as the churro gun. And they made a special set of projectiles for it as well. And oh, at 25 yards, it's accurate. And it was like pictures of bullets keyholing.
Yeah.
Keyholing is what happens when the bullet hits the target sideways, because they weren't spinning, it was just going straight. But they had made custom made 223 projectiles that, for lack of a better term, looked like a Nerf football.
Okay.
The old
Yep.
ones that had the fins on the back.
Yep. The whistling ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would make it spin as it went through, and would impart that spin and allow it to have more accuracy downrange. And it was just one of those huh, well, that's neat.
Sounds like really a high-end custom job.
Yeah. But so a company like that is kind of always pushing the limits. They're one of the major manufacturers of binary triggers. Their binary triggers work great. I have installed a lot of them,
Yes, you have.
and their triggers work awesome. I mean, and well, you know, I'm actually working on getting someone from the company on, not just to talk about their new products, but they have the only AR pistols available on the roster in California.
Really?
So they do a ton of work for people in banned states
Mm-hmm.
and definitely come up with kind of new ways to thumb their nose at their gun laws. And when they're running through stuff like that, it's all right, well, this is something we can get down with. But pushing all those things through, they have a lot of R&D and they push through to make things newer and greater. So maybe when they have one of these new platforms, they'll actually push more of the advancements and see what it was actually capable of, instead of just letting it sit on a shelf and languish going, well, we'll sell it to some Call of Duty guys maybe. I mean, that plan has worked for Chris.
If you find fanatics, they'll buy anything.
Yep. I mean, the Vector's a cool gun, but it's way heavier than you think.
A lot heavier. Oh man, I am so glad I don't own one of those anymore. It was a cool concept. It was neat. It was one of those. I owned one. I can move on now. It would have been a lot better had the ejection system been better on it. I don't know. Just it was funky.
It would have been better if the Gen 1 had the right firing pin in it from the
That
factory,
too.
so I didn't have to fix them.
Yeah. I think we put 2 in mine.
Yes.
Yeah, that was bad. But no, they say they got it fixed on the Gen 2s. So no, not. Don't put that in my head.
I didn't put anything in your head.
You said the name. It just that's the direction I went.
Fair enough. I mean, you held one not that long ago.
I did. It was Star Wars White.
It was. No, and that's about all I have really on where the future's going to be, because no one knows what it'll bring or what it'll have. But I think unless we have some sort of radical new type of ammunition,
Mm.
I don't think we're going to change much on the gas systems.
No,
You're
at
going to
this
stick
point,
with piston or direct impingement.
at this point, the way you said it best. Right now, I think the gun companies are more concerned about quantity than quality. And not to say not that they're putting out crap product right now. They aren't. It's just I think the gun industry is so in demand right now that they're just going to pump out what they already have, and that's fine. Get it on the get them out there because people are buying guns.
Yeah, there's more. Like the last 2 years have spawned more new gun owners than almost anything else in history. And the amount of new gun owners that are out there that are going, all right, we can do this. Well, yeah, changing butt stocks and grips and things
Mm-hmm.
like that, which is one of the things that we all love so much about the AR is how modular it is.
Yep.
Somebody's gonna be like, is there a better one than this?
Yep.
The answer is no. But
but that's when you get guys who are fanatics and build their own, and they'll tell you that there is. So
yep, or we come up with some other crazy thing on a bar napkin.
pretty much.
And I know that when we get this out, it will be on or after Black Friday, and I know I haven't looked out. There's a lot of deals out there. Now's the time to buy parts, guys.
Parts, check them out. Go to Primary Arms, or you could hit an affiliate, of ours.
Primary Arms has a huge sale right now, and we know some guys who have an affiliate link. You can go ahead and click through that and help the show.
Yeah, Primary Arms or Palmetto State.
Yep, Palmetto State Army is another big one. Actually, there's one other big change that just happened. Our website just got updated.
Fancy. I I haven't checked it out yet. I've
Yep.
been getting hit with questions, but I haven't got the chance to check it out yet. So
Yep. So no, we've been migrating a bunch of stuff over there. So we do have a new website, and it has links to everything, to include like where to get our merch,
mm.
and to our YouTube channel, to our Instagram, to our Facebook, all of those things that you always talk about, Garth. So what are those?
Well, those let's see. You can find us at the AR-15 podcast 2.0 at gmail.com, AR-15 podcast 2.0 on Instagram, AR-15 podcast 2.0 on YouTube, AR-15 podcast on the old Facebook here. Yeah, and like Dewey said, you can find us on the network and with all our affiliate links and Teespring app or store, and just leave a comment, drop us a line, let us know how I've been lacking the last couple weeks in the podcast, and Dewey's been picking it up left and right. So,
Yep, and we really do try and respond as soon as we get messages, and you do talk to one of us, and we'll answer any questions you have. And with that, Garth, I don't have anything else.
no, I think we've had a good talk about where ARs are headed and stuff, and it's been all fun and stuff. But I don't know if you can't tell, but I'm struggle bussing. This food coma from Turkey Day is kicking my butt, and I think I need to go take a little bit of a napski. So I'm gonna say happy trails until we meet again.
Well, and I'm still not singing, but you guys out there, you stay armed and stay safe.